Well, folks, it's time for more Dismal Disney, but this time we're going to focus on the breakdown of all the bad news that's been surrounding this company all at once. That's right, my passionate followers out there, I know how much you love the Disney collapsing saga, and let's try and shed some light on the failing state of the company overall, at least in the last 45 days. It's a true mouse-tastrophe. Here we go! So there are many central conflicts shaping Disney's landscape right now. Simply, what we're witnessing at this moment is unprecedented tension between corporate leadership, financial strategies, investor satisfaction, and of course, governmental scrutiny. And that's over everything that Disney is doing right now. Let's begin with the amalgamation of all those issues with South Carolina's recent decision to divest itself, or at least its state funds, from Disney. And of course, this sparked a wider conversation about corporate responsibility and fiduciary duties. Treasurer Curtis Loftus sounded alarms accusing Disney's management of straying far from these foundational principles. Strangely, all of his arguments are oddly familiar. They sound very much like myself, Mexican Iron Man, Valiant Renegade, WW Pro, Jonas J. Campbell, and Midnight's Edge, to name a few. But what are the real world financial shortcomings? Well, they're actually part of a web of financial intricacies. Disney's financial performance is chiefly among them. And amid these controversies, we can look at the stock's recent uptick, marked by a meager 4% increase this year. And then we're faced with contrasting statistics and performance, a significant drop from the all-time high of $201.91 back in 2021. And when you do that kind of comparison, it paints a bit of a picture of turbulence within the company. However, amid that fluctuation, Disney's fiscal report for the quarter ending September 30th clung on to a glimmer of hope, boasting about a 5% year-over-year revenue increase. That sent it soaring to about $21.2 billion. And notice how they focus on revenue and not profit. Well, these figures, while promising, coexist within uncertainties clouding Disney's future. Why? Well, amusingly, this number lags substantially behind simple inflation and relied largely on huge price increases in the products and experiences category without regard to actually a profit increase, as I mentioned before. So why is Disney trying to sell underperformance as a feature or a win? Oh, I know. It's because things at their theme parks was oh so much worse. And in that regard, let's pivot to the intricate governance structures shaping Disney's operations. Most importantly, the loss of unprecedented autonomy. That's right, the Reedy Creek Improvement District, which was established by the Florida legislature all the way back in the 60s. And that bestowed, as I mentioned before, unprecedented powers. And there were echoing concerns about that kind of independence and potential alignment with Disney's vested interests all the way back then. So this district actually established extensive municipal powers that no other theme park had, and likely never will again. Simultaneously, the emergence of CFTOD, which is the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, signifies a push for accountability and transparency post-RCID dissolution. So its recent independent audit uncovered a staggering number of irregularities, many of them being outlined by a lot of folks here on YouTube. And that's fueling discussions on proper resource usage and ethical governance. Not to mention the number of potential legal cases that may mount from government, investors, and, well, individuals as well. So who is actually to blame for all these poor decisions? I wonder. Narratively, the ride of a lifetime unravels further. It has revealed the key players who've molded Disney's destructive trajectory. Enter the figures of Bob Iger and, to a much less degree, Bob Chapek. Actually, to be fully transparent, Iger was singularly integral to Disney's past and present leadership. Iger's ambitious expansions, albeit briefly successful when considered against the company's, well, they were marred by very real criticisms of the political inclinations of Disney and their content and their stance on Florida's legislation around an education bill. The fallout ultimately led to an internal coup, culminating in Chapek's turbulent tenure, and ultimately his dismissal. And that kind of outlined a corrupted environment of leadership that was established by Iger loyalists within the company. Now, beyond corporate executives, the influence of profit-seeking investors like Nelson Peltz and prominent figures like Ike Perlmutter is redefining the battle for Disney's boardroom. Now, Peltz's resurgence with a robust strategy aiming for board representation and Perlmutter's strategic alliance underscores some seismic shifts in Disney's internal power dynamics. Now, this further is underpinned by many other profit-seeking investors jumping in to support Peltz for a change in leadership at the board level and a recapture of Disney's reputation, which they sorely need. That actually may be a tough row to hoe at this point, because outside of firing HR and all leadership positions across the board, at least the upper management levels, and starting from scratch, there may be much less change even after a potential board shift. So what's the takeaway of all this, all these things that we've covered here? When we look back over the last 6 weeks, we are going to have to come to some conclusions. So what are they? Well, Disney needs massive change in all areas, but specifically a financial focus on their fiduciary duty, their investors, and governance over activist radicalized staff at all of their levels, and leadership being refocused away from politics and divisive neo-Marxist ideological aims. They need to truly quiet the noise in regards to all of that and do what they can to get out of this compelling narrative that captivates our attention and scrutiny, then gives me a lot of material to cover, at least as far as how dismal Disney is at the moment. In other words, they need to stop dividing their audience, step away from politics, and become the America-loving family company of old. It's ultimately about trust, and they have lost that in their most loyal fans, which is the main part of the problem. The story here continues to unfold, as it will for a while, and it's revealing layers of corporate intricacies and legal complexities that are shaping what Disney's present looks like, and could basically outline the foreseeable future. It's going to take a lot more scrutiny on our part and pressure from, investors to make Disney great again. But will that happen? Your thoughts are going to be valuable here, so let me know what you think down in the comments section below. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya!